Hi, and welcome to another edition of Bauer Business Bites. My name is David Tighe. I'm the Managing Director of Bauer Media Northern Ireland, and it's my real pleasure to welcome Alan Cox, who's the Chief Executive of Core, to the programme today. Alan, how are you? Welcome.
I'm very good, thanks, David. How are you?
I'm great, and really pleased that you've managed to spare us some time today to join us on Bauer Business Bites. I'd like to start off, if I could, by just asking you just to explain what is Core, where's it come from, and what is it today?
The Core is Ireland's largest marketing communications company. We have about 35% market share, so basically, one in three of our scene in the Republic of Ireland come through our doors. So we've quite a reach into the marketplace. Historically, we were a media-centric business, but about 2 years ago, we embarked on the next part of our strategy, which was we transformed from being a media organization with a long history in media buying and planning into a marketing communications company spanning the whole spectrum of marketing communication services for clients. So we handle media planning and buying, we handle creative services, and we handle data, strategy, research, a whole range of different services across 9 practices. Our strategy is to provide all of those services to clients in an integrated, collaborative way, because we feel that in the past, our industry has been too silo-based and disintegrated. So that's it in a nutshell.
Wow. Okay. So for people who are watching this, perhaps who are based in Northern Ireland, what kind of clients would you represent?
We have a whole cross-section of industry covering everything from insurance to the motor car business to banks to retail. We handle a lot of business in the entertainment area. Some clients that we handle, for example, in the financial area, we handle AIB, we handle Ulster Bank. In the insurance sector, we handle Aviva, VHI, Irish Life. In cars, we handle a multiple of different brands in the car sector. We handle Disney. In retail, we handle Musgrave, which you'd be familiar with in Northern Ireland, obviously very important retailer in the Northern Ireland region, Lidl, Dixon's Carphone, a whole range of different clients across all sectors, really. We also handle Heineken, for example. So it's a long list.
And what are you learning at the moment from the trends from some of those clients of yours that are advertising right now and are remaining active in the marketplace? What are the learns on the messaging?
Well, I think it's really important for people to take stock of where the consumer is, what their mindset is, and to make sure that the clients are in step with how people are thinking. It's important that brands have empathy with consumers and to really be in tune with their mindset. I think that's very important. So that's why a lot of people, cancelled or deferred activity in the early days of this crisis so that they could reflect on that and then re-emerge with something to say that's relevant. The most important thing that brands should not do during this time is go dark. Obviously, there are some sectors where it makes no sense to advertise, and I accept that. But for any brands that have a long-term plan to be strong from a business point of view and to have a sustainable, profitable future, it's not just about investing in marketing communications that result in sales today. It's about building strategies and your brands for the future. So that's why the strong brands of the post-COVID period will be those brands that invested in promoting their brand in a relevant way during the crisis, because going dark never works in the long term.
Okay, and I know that Core has been involved in quite a lot of research during this current period. Are there any nuggets that you can pull out from the extensive research that your teams have been doing about the marketplace right now?
Well, there's a few things. What's interesting is, in terms of human nature, how we're thinking about the crisis and how we're thinking about living our lives. 47% of people that we surveyed a few weeks ago We survey about once a week about 1,000 people in the market, which are representative of the national population, just to see what they're thinking and to make sure that we're in tune with their views. And what's really fascinating is that 47% of people believe that relationships with their families have improved during this period. I think that speaks a lot to human nature, that despite the fact that we are cocooned or locked down and spending a lot of time together, and sometimes you might think that might result in people getting on each other's nerves, but what seems to be emerging is that for nearly half of the population, the opposite is true, that they're actually improving the relationships of families. Also, another statistic that came out is that 66% of respondents feel that they're currently enjoying the simple, everyday pleasures of life. So there is a real pointer there towards, I think, the resilience of consumers, the resilience of the population to deal with crisis like this. And that's part of the human makeup, isn't it? I mean, we are an adaptable and resilient life form, and that's been proven down through the ages. So it's something that I think people are understanding of, and that we will get through this dark period in our history. And that's also coming out in the level of optimism that we're seeing in the research, because about 62% of people are optimistic that Ireland is going to overcome this crisis. Now, that particular statistic is about 3 weeks old, and we're going back into the market this week, and it'll be interesting to see if that holds up. But when we looked at this about 3 weeks ago, that 62% figure was significantly higher than the average for the rest of the world, where the figure in terms of the level of optimism people had about overcoming the crisis was about 51%. So Irish people are proving to be optimistic, and I think that will bode well for how we reboot and recover when all this is past.
Really interesting data, and of course live in the market as well. Just as a final question, Alan, where do you think we're moving to next with the messaging? What do you think savvy marketeers, advertisers and businesses, where do you think they should be going next? Because we're in a different period now.
Well, there's a very fluid situation at the moment from the point of view of how we should be planning. And the most important thing is to spend a lot of time scenario planning, and for it to be a fluid process, not to make decisions that are cast in stone. It's important that we see what's going on, consider it, strategize about it, and scenario plan the future. That's the most important thing. The most valuable time that businesses can have now, and the most valuable way of using that time, is to strategize and scenario plan for the future. People's mindsets are changing. The way businesses are thinking about this crisis is very different now to the way it was 4 weeks ago, and it'll continue to evolve. So time spent strategizing is the most important advice that I think I could give any business, to use that time and to consider the advice of experts in the marketing communications field and all other stakeholders that have an important role to play in your business development. Seek advice, take time to consider that advice and to debate and discuss possible routes out of this. Most important thing is to ensure that you continue to invest in your brand. It's well known that there's a blend of investment that's required for effective marketing communications. Typically, about 2/3 of the amount of money you invest in marketing should be in long-term brand development, and about 1/3 in relation to short-term activation. The most important part of that mix right now is the brand building investment.
Fantastic. Alan, we've known each other for a long time. It's great to see you again, and thank you for sparing some time to give us your advice today on Bauer Business Bites. It's been great to see you, and wish you the very best of luck over the coming months.
Likewise,
thanks,
David.
Alan.
I wish you and yours and your business all the very best.